Hello there, Internet. So, long story short, I like convincing my friends to watch TV shows, and you're up next. So, here we go. I promise I'll try not to spoil anything for you. Why you should watch. Okay, so Supernatural is the story of two brothers, Sam and Dean, who fight, you guessed it, supernatural beings. They drive around in a very sexy car and are quite sexy themselves. I mean, just look at them. In Season 4, they are joined by the equally sexy yet socially awkward Castiel, Cass for short. He's a total angel. There's also some hot chicks. Most of them die. Now, the first 6 seasons are basically one big arc, and by far the best. All the world restrictions are set up with the endpoint in mind. Plot devices are set up seasons in advance. And then 7 ties into 6. Then 8 and 9 tie back into plots in 6, and we'll see where we go from there. We have been renewed for the next season. Thank you, Justin Bieber. Seriously, if he hadn't egged his neighbor's house, then the police wouldn't have searched his house, found cocaine, caused Jared Padalecki, the actor for Sam, to call Justin Bieber out on said possession of cocaine, which wouldn't have caused the Beliebers to boycott the next episode of Supernatural, which wouldn't have caused us to get our best rating since season 4, 5. Point is, everyone hates Justin Bieber, and yay, renewed. Now, the 3 things that really make this show stand out are 1, the characters and the actors that play them, 2, the themes that are brought in throughout the entire show, and 3, the style in which the show is shot. There is something about the two brothers that really resounds with the viewers of the show. Sure, it could be their charming personalities, their utter determination to continue on despite all of the hardships that they face, or even just their ability to look ridiculously sexy covered in gallons of blood. But I think the real magic is, as the show puts it, up against good, evil, angels, devils, destiny, and even God himself. They made their own choice. They chose family, and isn't that kind of the whole point? Speaking of which, the themes. Obviously you've got family, but not just in the traditional way. Family don't end with blood, as Bobby tells us. Also showcased in the show is the need to have free will, which Sam, Dean, and Castiel each struggle with in their own separate way. And yet another thing that shows up is the tendency for nothing to be black and white, everything is morally gray. Seriously, the guy that I trust the most to keep a promise is the king of hell. Sure, you want to read the fine print, make sure there's no loopholes, because he will be planning 10 steps ahead of you and use anything he can to come out on top. But if he makes a promise, he will keep it. Angels, on the other hand, are dicks with wings. I trust them about as far as I can throw them. Less, actually, and that's not very far. Seriously, I'm a weakling. I spend all day inside on the computer. Now, the style of the show. It's perfect. And when I say perfect, I mean it's not constant whatsoever. I mean, sure, you've got the constants of having 2 20 to 30-year-old guys driving around in a muscle car solving supernatural crises. But the way that it's shown each week changes. One week it might be a police crime drama, the next week it might be a slasher fic, and the week after that it might be an old-timey western. In one episode, they literally get caught in TV land and have to switch between different shows to catch the culprit. In another, they find themselves crashing through the 4th wall and onto the TV set of the show Supernatural, but they are in the characters of Sam and Dean, not Jensen and Jared the actors. So that gets kind of meta, as you can imagine, with Jensen and Jared playing Dean and Sam, playing Jensen and Jared playing Dean and Sam. But you couldn't pull off such craziness with just any show, and that is why I love it so much. While it is not quite as amazing as a classic like Buffy, it does have similar elements, and it has that same ability to take something from a different genre and have it mesh in with its world, and it just works perfectly. And it can make you cry your eyes out. And it's funny too. Not the laugh track sitcom kind of funny, I mean the good kind. Deadpan, practical jokes, self-referential humor. Nerds love that. Lastly, the fandom. Oh, the fandom. It is massive. It is awesome. Sometimes not so awesome, but we tend to call out the bad eggs on their bad behavior, and they cut the crap, which is pretty nice. Or we just ignore them until they go away. Depends on the person, really. The fandom has kept the show from dying several times. I'm rather proud of us. We also tend to play along pretty well with the Doctor Who fans and the BBC Sherlock fans, so thus the Super Wholock fandom was born. And if you've ever been to Tumblr, you know that the Supernatural fandom has a GIF for everything. Seriously, everything. No, you think I'm joking? I mean everything. Anywho, watch the show. It's awesome. You'll probably instantly fall in love if you love Buffy. Speaking of which, next time I'll either do a video like this about Buffy or finish off the Super Wholock mega awesome triad. We'll see what happens there. Ciao! Supernatural! 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 Words.